Okay, that was stupid. Was running late, got busy with something, lost track of time, and fun times. So I hope everything's working. Can everybody see anything? If there's anybody, I think we got one one person viewing so far. Thank you. But anyway, let me see. I'm trying to get my desktop set up so I can see things. Okay, just to let you know what I got set up here. Right now I'm using my extra fancy camera, which looks like it just froze up. I can't tell. Let me know. Oh, there we go. So I've got the Yamaha TG33 here, which is the first synthesizer I bought. I took money from my high school graduation, some gift money, and I went out and paid, I want to say it was $400 in 1992. So, you know, quite a lot of money when adjusted for inflation. And for a, you know, part-time fast food service working high school student. I bought this not really knowing a damn thing about synthesizers. I knew that it had MIDI on it. I knew I could hook it up to my then Amiga computer and I could sequence it using that. I literally knew nothing about music, and that's why I bought this and probably didn't hold out for something else or to teach myself more. There were no music stores around that I knew to go into to play that wasn't like all digital pianos. One place, and this was a place in Elgin, Illinois. No, it was in Woodfield Mall. It was called Carnes Music or something like that. I can't remember, but they mostly sold band instruments. But they had this and an SY-77. I couldn't afford the SY-77, so I bought this. That's kind of as much as I knew about it. I just knew it sounded cool when I played it. So to give you a little bit about the TG33, it's a 32-note polyphonic FM and AWM vector synth. And what that means is that you have 4 elements that you can mix. The A element and the C element are samples. The B element and the D element are FM. I think it's only like, it's not even 4 operator, it's like 2 operator or something. The downside to this unit is that you can't really get into too much editing of the FM waveforms. It's just, you're just kind of selecting preset FM and then you're using the joystick to either mix their levels or mix their detuning. It's got a very kind of lo-fi sound to it by today's standards. I think it was a 12-bit device, 12-bit, something like that. So not ultra fancy and all that, but let's kind of play it a little bit, mess with it a little bit. And that's nothing but the unit. I've hooked up to an Alesis Wedge for effects, but I'm bypassed right now, so you're not going to hear any of that. But yeah, if you turn off the effects, you'll notice the effects are not good on this unit by any standard. But without them, the synth actually sounds worse. This is the same sound. bad, but it's not great. But okay, if we unbypass the Alesis Wedge, you'll hear what better effects do for it. So that's kind of where it's going, but kind of if you want to hear some of the other presets on here that I really like. Kind of hear that. Honestly, playing it is not really that great. Playing the vector is not really that great in my experience. What you want to do with the vector is when you're creating presets, it has, I mean, people say that like Korg had the first motion sequencer. Now, this was actually the first time you'll see a motion sequence in a synthesizer. It actually, there's a way to record the motions of this into the patch so that when you play a note, it plays them back and it can be told to loop them or just play through it once. Similar to like the wave station, what the Korg wave station would later do with vector envelopes. It's kind of interesting. And the way the joystick records and plays back, I really like it. I mean, I'm actually, now that I think about the Prophet VS, might have had that first, but I never had a Prophet VS, so I don't know. I couldn't afford one. Probably can't afford one now, but we could keep going through some of these. Perfect for your 80s covers when you can't afford a DX7, and why you can't afford a DX7 today, I don't know. Yeah, really fun, isn't it? These sounds would be great if it was 1994. The effects just have, you need them, but they have such a muddy sound. I tend to prefer to record it dry and then add effects other places, because some of these sounds are like Casio home keyboard level boring. That one's fun. So, all in all, the presets are useless. Maybe one or two that aren't bad, but they're all along the same kind of This was a synth made in the early 90s that still thought it was the 80s. So that said, let's go have some fun with it. Because it actually, despite not having any filters, there are some fun things you can do with it. Let's find second card bank is completely random crap, so you never know what you're gonna, if you'll hear anything. But this is good because we can find an initialized patch space. Let's see if I can remember how to initialize a patch. An invoice, yes. And that is an initialized patch. Now, let's go in and we can turn off. The way that you can edit this synth is really simple. You have your elements, which are the A, B, C, and D. Here, you have the element switches for turning the elements on and off. So, let me get off this page and onto anything. We go to tone, and you can't really see on the display because this camera's a little bit far away from it, but now I can turn off the tones. They're all off there, but here you can just hear the first tone, which is the AWM tone at the top of the. So when I have the vector up there, you'll hear it. If I do this, it's gone. Now let's go to the B tone. Select something there. Turn that back on. That's the default B tone. Really boring. This is the FM tone, so it's default to a sine wave. The AWM tone defaults to a very, very, very terrible piano. Let's see. Let's go into the tone editing, and we're gonna focus on the A tone for right now, and just see what we can kind of put together. Okay, let's go all the way back. Okay. And the waves are arranged in categories, which was nice. So you have, even though there's not that many, it's not that hard to just scroll through them one by one. Oh, and you have a data, in addition to the increment, decrement buttons, you have a data knob for quickly going through everything if you wanted to. But there's the organs. Actually, organ could be fun. Terrible brass samples. Terrible woodwind samples. Some guitar samples that are just called gut because apparently they couldn't be bothered to spell out guitar. Some bass samples that will, I'm sure, fool anybody. I do like the strings, but that's only because these were the only strings I had when I first got the synth, and I got used to them. Terrible cello. Pizzicato. Yep, that sample loop is just a little bit obvious. Hey, Garen. Nice, highly detailed 12-bit choir sample, which I think they just took one sample and stretched it across the entire keyboard, which can't sound really. These samples are really lo-fi when you take them down in pitch. You can really hear the artifacts, which I think is one of the advantages to this particular synthesizer, is that if you like those digital artifacts, this is before they knew how to clean any of that up, or even really tried. like you want a drone, just turn on some effects and yeah, I know. This video. I think this will be the first video someone does of a synthesizer, and prices actually go down afterwards. I think that was the choir. Come on, go back down. There we go. No, there's a good one. This one's called Itopia. And it sounds really boring up here. But take it down 2 octaves. There's something wonderful about the crunchy effect. Oh, Garen, that is very common. You will hear the sample loops on all of these. They are so. This is Yamaha did not know anything about multi-sampling or sample looping when they made this synthesizer. I think they cleaned things up when they did the 35 that you said you had. The 35, I think, might have had 16-bit samples memory instead of 12-bit like this one does. I'm not quite sure about that. But, yeah, they're crunchy, particularly if you take them out of their register. Like here, this is, 2 octaves down. And it's almost a noise generator. Let's go into the EG. Leave that flat. Okay. User envelope. No delay. Initial is 0. Attack is we'll make it a slow attack. Reduce the release rate. So let's now go to the B element. Turn the bypass back on. The FM side does have some nice, very good kind of pure sub-bass tones. But the problem is you can't really do anything with them as far as editing. So let's go through some of those. Let's take the preset envelope off, go to user. And then where's the element tone? Okay. And very boring sine waves, or saw waves, excuse me. That one's kind of fun. Let's see what we can do with that. We're going to go into the, I'm going to start using some of my knowledge of this system and go get the LFO going. Because the LFO actually makes this synth pretty interesting. Because you can kind of go a little nuts with it. Okay, turn that down. Come on. The frequency, there's a frequency shift parameter that I'm playing with now, which is normally to change the octaves. I don't know what it does, how it actually works on the FM synth, if it's not transferring the note or actually transposing the oscillators. But on like this patch, it totally changes the character of it. Let's get into that LFO. Okay. It is a shame you can't modify the LFO in real time on this synth because it can go extremely fast and become kind of an FM tone on its own. Like this is, I'm using it for FM or excuse me, AM at the moment. But what's really fun, take that down. The PM is controlled by the mod wheel. So you can bring it in. It's a shame this thing doesn't have a filter. Put the effects on it with that. Bay back in. I record 2 hours of that, and I would have a Lab Report Live album. And very few fans. It should be noticed that there is one artist I know of that actually used the TG33 and uses the SY35 live, and still does. When we saw, I don't know if any Skinny Puppy fans here, but they used the TG and the 22 on the Last Rites album, and they if you actually listen to the album Last Rites, I can point to songs where I can hear the drum kit from this thing and some of the presets through effects and such. But before their good farewell tour, I saw Kevin Key posting pictures of his practice rig. He said he was practicing, and he had a picture of the SY22, not the 35, a 22, and a I think it was a Moog Sub 37 on a stand, like the two of them together, and I was like I identify with this setup. I feel this setup because, you know, it's a little bit different. I mean, this thing is definitely an acquired taste, but I've always come back to it for some reason, and I always have fun with it. It's not something I'm going to use every day. Oh yeah, definitely a drone machine. And let's hey Rob, good to see you. Don't see enough of you, but I'm going to try to find better time slots, because apparently there's a lot of other people I know that are also in the same time slot as me, and this is not a convenient time slot for everyone. I just picked one that was convenient for me. But now that the setup's starting to work better and such, I might start doing some in the evenings during the week and whatnot. It seems to be, you know, people seem to be enjoying the content. That is just... I wish this thing had a filter on it. I really, really do, because a filter on that sound would be great. But now let's turn those elements off. Go to element C. Oh, bypass. The init patch has a wonderful little string sound there, so let's find a different sample for that. Oh no, I'm on the wrong one. I don't have an outboard filter box. I have my, I'm actually now staring at my Behringer 2600 that's not too far away from here, from the setup. But it would be kind of a headache to hook that up right now, because I don't even think I have power to that rack right now, because it's in the middle of getting set up. But that would be a cool thing to do, and definitely something that's period accurate for the people that you know, did this stuff. You know, like talking about Skinny Puppy and stuff like that. Running gear through other gear was what they did. But I do have my EMU XT Ultra over here. I think you can see it in the shot. It's over in the rack right over here. And I set it up this morning to do some sampling. So maybe I can do a little bit of that. Once I get a good something, I'll do a long sample of it into there, and then you can play with the samples and effects that are in that mad beast. This is like right now, the TG33 and the E4, this is like recreating my rig from about 1995, 96, when I got my first EMU sampler. Only that was an E64. That was nothing like this one. Is the last great hardware sampler that EMU built. So, and I kind of had to restore a little bit on it because it had a bad power supply when I got it, and I was able to find an RFX32 card for it. So I think maybe we'll do a whole FAFO video on that one, because that's another piece of gear that's just wonderful. So let's see, that EG is not what I want. Let's go. I don't want a different tone. We don't want a string tone. This has potential. You can hear the sample loop in this one easily, especially if I play it up. That's like dropping your mic down a toilet is what that sounds like. Oh, there's a good one there. Oh, Garen. Yeah, these samples. Well, you had one of these things. They were, see what they were trying to do. I think the Wave Station had come out, and they tried to put a whole bunch of synth loops in here with the vector control to make people think that, oh, maybe you're getting something that can do like Wave Station stuff. And it definitely cannot do anything similar to a Wave Station. It's just got those really bad loops that transpose up and down the keyboard. I swear they were just like, well, we need some more sounds for the ROM, and I got this. They didn't spend a lot of time with it, I don't think. Oh, there we go. Welcome to Chicago hip hop, or Detroit, some techno, I don't know. That is just terrible. Niall, I think these samples are from definitely from those CDs 30 years ago. I want your own imaginations on what that patch sounds like. They call it Water 1. But all I think as a 51-year-old man is it's me first thing in the morning when I make my trip to the bathroom. Oh, yes. It was their second attempt, Niall. If you want to get like sampling synthesizers, the M1 came out, and suddenly there was a threat to Yamaha with the DX7. So Yamaha really quickly tried to get in on the game. They did that with the first synth that they did that with was the SY55, which I almost feel like acquiring one just because everyone here, you all know me, I love synthesizers. There's very few synthesizers I haven't owned at some point. the 55 is a synthesizer I played once in a store, and I hated it. I've never had any desire to own a 55. There's also a tone generator version, TG55, that I don't even think, I think they're so bad, they were just, no one even sells them, they just throw them away. But the SY55 was just bad. It just sounded bad. It's like this without, I mean, imagine this with a half-assed attempt at a filter and half-assed attempt at a filter, no vector synthesis, no FM. It was just their first pure SNS, and it's like, it's just terrible. It's just bad. Now I'm talking myself into wanting to get one just to be contrary and have, and you know, because sometimes I like finding cool things in ugly synthesizers. Metal hits. So industrial. Bamboo. I love that there's reverb in the sample and it just cuts off. Oh, slam. Oh, hey, Ministry. And now here we are on some trumpets. Oh, these aren't trumpets. This is transients. Which these don't seem like transients at all. I don't know what. These are just like the attacks. Oh yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. Getting I could get a Kawai K4. It would be like the opposite. I can't remember the name of that. There's this one guy, I think it's Vulture Culture. He does these where he just taught every. I don't want to make fun of him or sound like I'm making fun of him. He has a good following. He makes good content, but it seems like every one of his videos is this the ultimate synthesizer for this form of music? Is this the ultimate? Is this the forgotten digital synth? And it's always the DW8000 or the Kawai K3. I don't know why. Maybe that's just the only videos I catch of his, but I would never use one of those. I'll just use synthesizers that everybody hates. But this isn't like bad gear where the gear ends up actually being good gear. This is bad gear where I actually think it's bad and it should feel bad, and I'm going to make it do something that makes me feel good, but it's still bad. That's not a bad idea. Some of these OS sounds aren't bad. I love it that they have, this is a series of oscillator wave shapes now just called digital. Like every waveform in this thing doesn't already sound digital. There's a much better saw than that other one that was in the FM side. I kind of like that one, and I'll tell you why, because when I turn the other two on, uh-oh, what happened to my tone B? My tone B. Oh no, something happened and it seems to have lost my tone B. Or did I do that in tone D? Nope, that was my tone B. Oh, you stupid thing. It lost my noise. Yeah, I gotta find that wave again that I found before, that noise one. completely lost my tone, my B tone with all that noise going on. Now I gotta find that noise wave again. There it is. At least it's not hard to get to. It seems to have remembered some of the parameters are here, but oh, on the FM side, you do have two parameters on the FM. You can use the modulator level, and you can control feedback. But let's get back to that. One nice thing is every tone does have its own LFO. Okay, on to element D. Actually, that's not bad if I can just have do a timbral shift on that one to get the pitch down with the other one. Oh, no. Editing the wrong one. Maybe that's how I messed up the other one before. So I had the wrong one selected. Oh, here's some crazy pitch bend range 12. So I guess if you want to be an ambient musician, you need a dishwasher and an Alesis Wedge, and then you'll be fine. Maybe a TG33 too. I'm going to store that patch because I like that. No, copy, not copy, no. I have to go to voice, store. This thing is really, really fun. Yeah, it's a very weird little synthesizer, and there's not much else that's like it that's ever been made. I guess that's why I do kind of I defend it to some extent. Well, I stored that patch, so hopefully I will not lose it. And the memory card will not fail. I mean, this is a 30-year-old piece of gear, and I did actually find a memory card for it that someone was selling it with another piece of Yamaha gear, a Yamaha RM50 drum module, which I've had several of in the past, but they were selling the drum module for $200 with the 64K memory card. And these memory cards are worth more than that. They're harder to find. They said the memory card wasn't working. I just changed the battery on it and it worked fine. So I just flipped the RM50 again. So I got a memory card for my TG33 for no money, which is always the best. When I got this thing in '92, I thought this was going to be the synthesizer that was going to make me into Nine Inch Nails and Depeche Mode rolled into one. Ambient drones were not even on the radar for me at that point, but little did I know that no, it wasn't. But I really loved the synth because it was my first synth. And then eventually I got a Yamaha SY85 keyboard, which did have a resonant filter, but it didn't have the FM side of things. It just had the sample playback, and it had a much better effects section and a sequencer. That one I would say was Yamaha's first good sample playback synthesizer. I've often toyed with getting a TG500 in the studio again, or the rack mount module, because they're cheap, and that might be a video idea. Get a TG55 and a TG500, the 500 being the rack of the 85, and you could kind of compare how far Yamaha came with S&S sample between those two generations. The first one is AWM and the second one is AWM2, and they, to their credit, they did learn their lesson. And now I think they still call it AWM2, or maybe they just call it AWM in the montage, or I don't know what they're on now. Montage, motif, something with an M. So many Yamaha workstations. That is a really nice sound. welcome Lady Aptitude, and that's awesome. I've been using one for off and on. This is my third TG33. I've had, I have my eye on getting a 35 for no reason. I mean, really, I don't need it, but they're just, you got to think a little out of the box. You got to think more in terms of, I think, you don't think about filters, you think more in, it's more like painting. You're mixing different colors. And that's what the vector is for, is mixing the colors. And get a good, run it through some good effects if you don't already have some. You know, I think something like, I don't have any pedal effects. Like, I know that's the big rage these days, but I feel like can't really deal with all those little 9-volt adapters all over the place. But I've been looking at, my son is trying to talk me into getting a Chroma console. I think because he wants to borrow it, quote unquote, borrow it, meaning it disappears from my studio and 6 months later I have to go track it down. I find it under his bed. But we'll see. Something like that might be cool. I've got a Fractal Audio Axe Effects, which I should definitely run this thing through, which, I mean, this thing has stereo outputs, but aside from basic pan, you can pan things around, but if you don't pan, if you're not using the panning, which I guess I should do because most of you people can hear in 2 ears and I just can't, which was actually a mistake, I thought, with the vector joystick. I thought they should have had a panning mode for it, but they never did that. Running it mono into the Axe Effects for like guitar effects, that would be pretty cool to do with this thing too. I should probably do that while I've got it hooked up. I just thought another performance technique is to put the vector joystick somewhere else, and then you can like go in and change the sample you're playing. Oh. be patient with it and don't be afraid to get weird. That's kind of what I think is the key to getting the TG33. With a lot of synthesizers, you know, if you treat them as they were intended to be played and try to make them beautiful. It's kind of like Bjork said this one time about synthesizers. She was like, fake wood will always look terrible, but you know, plastic can be wonderful when it's not trying to pretend to be wood. And that's the thing with the TG33, with the sample set they gave and everything like that. They were trying to make it pretend to be a beautiful sounding synthesizer. And the less you focus on trying to make it sound beautiful, the more fun it is, because this thing can be just nasty. And I mean that in a very positive way. There is a editor, which for some reason I've been having some trouble getting it installed, and I'm working with the developer. Otherwise, I'd throw it up on the screen and show you it. It's called Coffee Shopped is the company. It's called Patchbase. They have a TG33 editor, and the TG33 editor that they have lets you edit the FM parameters that aren't revealed in the user interface. So you can get more into it and get more into the nuts and bolts of how the FM, the B and D elements operate. I'm running on a Mac too as well, so I know the pain of sometimes even find something that's only on the PC. But you know, you find your way. See, it's interesting playing with the synth as well, because this was a synth I bought when I knew nothing about how to write synth programs, how to design sounds. And now I've got, you know, what is it, 92? It's so 30, more than 30 years experience. 30 years experience programming synthesizers that I can put to use. And the effects make a big difference too, because definitely have to do is over here get a little something else going. Oh, and has per law, per streaming rules, I have a bunch of random crap on my desk, because if I didn't have this random crap, I think they just like automatically cut off your streams or something, or cut off something. I don't know. Shameless product placement. Okay, let's see. I'm going to take a long sample of that. How long do we want to sample? This sampler, I wish I could get a camera on here to show you how we'll set the threshold a little higher. I have not sampled in a long time. This sampler is loaded with 128 megs of RAM, which I know some people are like 128 megs. What can you do with that? Well, let's see how many seconds that actually is. Stereo. 698.5 seconds. So that's more than 10, 11. That's a little, just around 11 and a half minutes of sampling time. And I would like to tell all the kids out there that think you need to have gigabytes of sample memory, screw you, you're just entitled. And no, you don't need that much RAM. Now we're not going to do that. Let's do, now, here we go. Let that tail die out. The original is going to be an F2 note. Okay, place that sample. Man, I love these. It's going to take a little while to process this because I told it to normalize the sample, and that was a very long sample. Nope, there we're done. See? Let's see. Now how do we audition this? Let's see if that's going to be in the mix. If I got that going to the right output, going to the outputs. Nope. I do. Hold on. You will hear it soon. That's nice. I don't think that's the root pitch it's playing. Is that the root pitch it's playing? Yeah, that is the root pitch it's playing. Now we can go into, let's go have some fun with it. Let's add, Patchbase has a lot of good editors, and the TX81Z is an amazing synthesizer. That one is classic. Oh, I can't even name all the artists that have used that one. I almost bought Robert Rich's TX81Z many, many years ago, but then he backed out of the sale on me because he decided to keep it. It was very weird, but this was a very long time ago. I think this was like how long ago, like we were talking on CompuServe about buying it. That's how long ago this was. But I never owned a TX81Z. I've had almost all the other FM synthesizers, but never an 81Z. Let's see. Preset edit. voice. Okay, we're going to try something here. I'm going to switch from the TG33. Where's my Logic audio? Where are you? There you are. You know what? I love this. Just taking that. This is one of the other nice things about the TG33 was sampling it. Yeah, that was that whole 50-second sample gone up several octaves. Going down some octaves. Let's see. Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. That turned it into sub bass. Good seeing you, Garen. Have a good afternoon. Interesting. Oh, that's interesting. DMU seems to not be seeing any of its drives on its SCSI bus, and I wonder why that is. That's not good. I'm going to have to figure that out because now I can't save all that work that I've been doing. Weird. Oh, why is that on? Okay, gotta dive under the rack real quick on what the SCSI cable came out. Okay, the cables are in there. Oh, now they're showing up. I just wiggled the cords. There we go. Okay, that's working anyway. Doesn't like that. Uh-oh. Might have lost all I was working on. Damn it. Well, this is what happens sometimes when you FAFO. You're not happy with what you might find out. Okay. Go back to
Ah.